Here we are tonight at the Grove with the monsoons and the mudslides. The day before, was it the day before? Yes. Yesterday we were in San Diego, which is like beautiful for me because
Yes.
I can be home in my own bed in about 5 minutes, which is a luxury if you know what we do
Of course.
for a living. Travel, hotel. And then the day before that, we were at the Wilton in LA on the 405 on a Friday night in rush hour, which normally when I come to work in Burbank, I can get from door to studio in 2 hours, 6.5 hours
Oh my
to
gosh.
get from San Diego to the Wilton.
Well, do you know what the 405 stands for?
What is that? No, I don't know. What is it?
4 or 5 hours.
Oh, there you go. Well, that makes absolute sense now. But these are like the backstage stories, you know. The most important thing is that we go on stage on time, because
Right.
I'm kind of a OCD for timing things, you know, for performances. And
That's kind of rare in a leading man.
It's not rock and roll, is it really? I mean, rock and rollers will notoriously tell you, dude, I do this because I didn't want a 9-to-5 job, you know.
Right.
Um,
Well, Axl Rose could probably learn something from you, huh?
I love Axl. He's a real star, but you know, that's just one of my little quirks as a performer. I have to be on stage.
Well, I'm sure your audience appreciates it, especially the ones that have to work in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. And as ever, you know, I say thank you, and I'm very, very grateful for the fans giving me this life. You know, it's much like radio. You guys have your listeners, and we depend on these fans to let us do the things that we love to do, you know. And my fans have been giving me this opportunity for nearly 40 years now, and I never forget them. I'm always grateful for everybody that comes to a show or buys a CD or a T-shirt, because it all goes back in the pot and keeps it going, you know. So yeah, thanks for all those great things you do for us.
Well, we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate everything that you've given to rock and roll and to metal, and which I was a metalhead and still am, and still very much into rock and roll. And so we appreciate everything that you've given us over the years. And I have to tell you a quick story. My husband and I met in the orchestra pit of a Judas Priest concert.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we met
amazing.
watching you.
See, that's amazing, and that's what makes the relationship that I think that is created with rock and roll bands around the world and the fans.
It unifies people. It really does.
Yeah, because firstly, the connection, I believe, is made because you listen to the music and you listen to the messages in the music and you relate to them. That's what music is all about. You know, that's where we find our favourite performer. So that's even more like a family, isn't it? When you relate it in a deeper sense that way.
Well, speaking of relating and this new album Made of Metal, you put a lot of personal
Yeah.
experiences or personal
Right.
feelings into it. What were you thinking when you were writing this album? What were you thinking about?
Well, it was kind of a surprise record because I knew I had this year to do a lot of work, and my first thought was, okay, the Halford band is going to go back out for the first time in a long time, and when I go and see a band, I love to hear the music that I'm familiar with, but I'm also excited to hear some of the new ideas. So with that in mind, it was a mad scramble. I called Roy Z, who plays guitar in the Halford band and produces all of the music that we make. I said, Roy, let's make a record. And he goes, okay, Metal God, let's go. I'd already been accumulating some ideas, and I played them to Roy, and he said, you should keep going this way. I said, do you think we should start collaborating? He said, not just yet, just keep on the track that you're on, because I think this is some important things you're talking about in your lyrics. So I suppose because I didn't have too much time to think it through, it's coming from a different place this time, you know, which I think is a good thing, because again, I find that the opportunities that I have with my solo career, I can be a little bit more intimate and talk about things that are special to me, just the observations that I have about things in life, which I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about elsewhere. So yeah, There are a number of songs on this release that just have a little bit of a personal side of what makes me click and tick, and I've always tried to be as open as I can as a musician with my fans as well, and so this is just another opportunity to say, hey, this is what makes me work when I write these words.
Well, I found listening to the album that it took me to a lot of different places. There was some adventure there, there was some optimism, there was some romance.
Yes. Yeah, it was just a very wonderful experience. I mean, musicians will tell you that sometimes making a record can be very, very difficult, and there's nothing wrong with that, because greatness can come out of a real long endeavour. And some other times it's just like, you know, it's like playing. You're playing with the music and you're just letting all these things happen, just streaming, and that's what happened with this record. And again, I love to listen to music that doesn't necessarily challenge me, but I like to be interested by it. I like to hear okay, there's one song, now what else have you got? You know, so this record goes all over the place, as you point out. 1 minute we're talking about boxing, but we're not. That's the heavyweight champion of the world is heavy metal. Then we're talking about bullfighting, you know, which was inspired by Howell Hughes on the PBS, the California Gold guy. I love that guy. He was doing a thing on the California Gold Rush, and then there was something on TV on PBS. I'm a big PBS nut. Later about Mexico, and suddenly this idea of a guy that was at the California Gold Rush, and gold ran dry. You know,
there was definitely a bit of a southwestern flavor to it.
Yeah, well, you know, I still have a great affinity with the Southwest. I have a home still in Phoenix, in Arizona, and that's where the office is for Metal God Entertainment and the label and the merchandise company are based out of. And so even though I do spend a bit more time in Southern Cal now, in San Diego, I'm still a bit of a British cowboy in some sense. I love that Southwest spirit.
Yes.
I love that kind of there's a special feeling, much like all different states of America have got something special to offer. And I'm a lucky guy. I've probably seen more of America than most Americans have seen in the years that I've travelled. Gotten a tour bus and I've been to every one of the states in the United States, you know, over the past 35, 38 years.
I don't even know if the president has done that.
Well, I don't know. It's probably true. Yeah. And it's remarkable. I love America. I really do. And there are so many different people that live here from different backgrounds. Of course, it's a country made of immigrants, mostly from Europe, but from all over now. And it's fascinating. And yet the world is a small place. You know, you can put a metalhead from South Cal in the room with a Japanese metalhead and somebody from Australia or Rio.
And all headbang together.
All be headbanging together. That's the wonderful global community that we've got in heavy metal music.
Well, speaking of metal, you have this moniker of Metal God.
Yes.
How do you feel about that title?
Well, when the fans started to call me that, I didn't quite know what to make of it, you know, and at first I didn't really think that much about it, but I think the longer I've lived with it, the more I feel that it's got a great sense of value to it, you know, and it makes me think more about my work and trying to do the best that I can possibly do, and not disappoint people. I know what it's like when you work hard and you look forward to seeing a band and you go and see the band, and for some reason it's not quite what you expected. I don't want to disappoint my fans. So,
well, because you're the Metal God and you've been given that title, do you feel that the bar is raised and you have to perform to that level every time?
Maybe. I don't really think about it that much. People actually call me that now. Hey, Metal God, and I'm like, well, that's obviously me, you know, or MG, hey MG, you know, and it's a term of affection, but I think there's some strength behind it. I don't overdwell on it because that's just not my nature as a guy from the West Midlands, you know, born and raised in a very, very tough working class family. My roots of who I am as a person were instilled in me as a kid by my parents, God bless them.
Well, that's why you have such a great work ethic. I
think probably that's true, yeah. I think for any of us that have become successful through hard work, and it is hard work, and that might seem strange because your fans come to play when they come to see a show, it's time to let loose and get rid of the daily stress. So we're a bit like a cathartic event for a lot of people. But it's, for us, it's work, obviously, and we want to give everybody the best possible time that they can have, and so we take our work in a very, you know, good level of professionalism, which is what it should be.
Well, it seems like
we have a great time, but you know, I tend to waffle on a bit about the, you know, the seriousness of it all. We love doing what we do in the Halford band. This is a great bunch of guys, and we just love to get on stage and give everybody the